Well, look at the crowd. Isn't that nice? All right. Got to get everything in. I'm in Al-Anon. I'm just going to get everything set up. Oh, there's some more of you out there. Well. Good evening. I am so glad to be with you here at the Abbey on beautiful Lake Geneva. And I have looked forward to this. You know, the committee called me over a year ago. I have looked forward to this so much, and now suddenly I find myself just standing here. It's the best seat in the house. I get to see your sweet faces, and at a moment like this, when we begin our celebration of recovery together, there's a feeling that comes over me that I'm never able to express other than to use that word glory. It's that feeling you get when we're all together like this, or maybe you don't, but I do. And that feeling just starts down in my feet and works its way up, and it just goes up, and I don't know what to do with it, and it's just feeling so good, and it just comes right out my fingertips, and I just want to do something with it. So I asked somebody, I said, how do you sign glory? And she said, just let it out. Let that just work right up, and then you just clap your hands together, and you just say glory. And I thought, well, okay, now we're all here tonight, and we've had big dinners, and maybe we're feeling a little sleepy, and we had a long drive, and maybe you didn't get to do your exercises today. You don't have to stand up, but if you're feeling what I'm feeling, if you're looking around at these people, at these miracles, at us, maybe you'd like to just do what I'm doing now. You just let that feeling kind of, come on, you just let it start, come on. Just let it kind of start up, and then it goes up and up and up, and pretty soon you just clap your hands together and say, glory! Woo! And then you just sprinkle it all over everybody. Isn't it? Yeah, why not? Why not? I mean, okay, now wait a minute. I'm getting carried away, and I have to understand that this is, after all, I am an Al-Anon speaker, and I should calm down, and so I have to use my Al-Anon voice. That's the voice I use at the beginners' meetings when I'm leading them. That serene voice. I want to tell you, hello, everybody. I am a grateful member of the Worldwide Fellowship of Al-Anon, and my name is Jenny. My home group meets in Tequesta, Florida, which is halfway between Orlando and Miami, on Wednesday mornings, and of course I think it's the best group in the world. I'm a member of the Worldwide Fellowship. I've also heard it expressed that I'm addicted to mood-altering, mind-changing men. Could it be? I don't know. Anyway, I'm here, and I'm so glad to be here. And I wonder if there's anybody here for their first time. Do you have a gold star on your name tag like I do? Those that have gold stars. Oh yes. Oh good. Oh good. Great. All right. I'm going to, I'll talk to you then, because I'm new at this too, so we'll just walk through this together. I'm supposed to tell what it was like. Oh, and I don't even know how long I'm supposed to speak. How long am I supposed to speak, Dot? Is it Dot or Pat? Dot, yeah. That was a beautiful, Doc, that was a beautiful prayer. Thank you so much when you talked about the celebration of recovery. Okay, well, we'll just see what God has in mind, and it'll be in 3 sections. I know that, what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now. Well, I was born a long time ago, so settle back in your chairs. 1934 BC, that's before computers. Long time ago. I don't understand them. I don't want to understand them. I don't even use redial on my phone. How do you know? How do you know that phone is going to redial that thing? I just don't trust them. So anyway, I was born at a time when little girls were supposed to be perfect and not cause any trouble. And I would sit at my mother's knee, and she would tell me how my life was going to be, that I would grow up and graduate from high school and go to college, and then I would find someone that I could love, and I would make him love me, and we would be happy. I could make him happy, and he would make me happy, and we would be happy together and love each other and go through life together, have perfect children, and then go off into the sunset years together. I caused... Some of you heard the same thing. So I call those things my mother's myths, because later on in my life, they caused a lot of mythery and a lot of misunderstanding, because it just didn't happen that way. But that's all right. You know, parents do just the best they can. Nobody gives them a license. You need a license for fishing and hunting, but nobody gives you and to drive a truck, but not to raise a child. I haven't figured that one out yet, and I don't have to. So anyway, yes, I finished school, and 2 years later, I was out on the dance floor in the arms of a young Dutch engineer, and he whispered those wonderful, wonderful words in my ear. He said, "I need you." Oh. Don't tell me you love me. Tell me you need me. That's what I was waiting to hear. And so we were married. Yes, we were. Well, I could see he had potential, so that's why I married him. I mean, you know, he had some rough edges that could be smoothed off, and yes, I could see his potential, and so we were married, and up the corporate ladder he went, and I was behind him pushing just as fast as I could go, and we did have a lot in common. Come to think of it, we were both busy leading his life. Do you know that, what is that drink commercial? And they go, whoa, like that. I could have had a life, you know. I didn't. My life was his life. If he was happy, I was happy. If he wasn't happy, I wasn't happy. I could tell you this. It was pretty well, I was pretty well focused on him. And he went, as I say, up the corporate ladder, and we moved to Europe, and he was European, and alcohol did play a role in our lives, but after all, he was European, and I thought everybody had a private wine merchant and a wine cave under their house, and little trolls that would come carrying the wine casks down to the wine cave, and he had a lot of stress in his life. He told me that, and so he would need, 2 martinis when he came in from this stressful job. We were living in Brussels, in Belgium, and then we'd have wine with dinner, and then after dinner, a little drink, a cognac or something he would, and then the poor man, who was so stressed out, would just fall asleep in his chair. He was passed out. I learned that later. I didn't know about that. I didn't know you would pass out, that anybody in my house, under my roof, anybody that I would marry would pass out. But there he was, and I was in my total ignorance. I didn't know a thing about alcoholism. I know... I want to skip on to the teenage years of my daughters. At one point, they came to me and they said, "Do you think Dad's an alcoholic?" I was shocked. I mean, for heaven's sakes, I wouldn't marry an alcoholic, and I knew what alcoholics were. I'd seen Days of Wine and Roses and Lost Weekend. I knew about them, and that had no place in our lives. No, of course he wasn't. I just couldn't. I knew if I could just take away his anger. It wasn't a rage, but it was just a constant anger. And so I would try to become president of this, or change my hair color, or do something to make the man happy. And I just couldn't. And I became more and more miserable, and I knew God didn't want me to live like this, but I knew I couldn't divorce him. Divorce was out of the question. No one in my family had ever divorced. Murder was a possibility. I tell you, we'd go sailing out there. Some days we'd be out on our boat, out on the North Sea, and I'd look out. He'd be running around tightening winches or wrenches or whatever you do on boats. I didn't know how to sail, but I was with him. I could pull up the anchor. That was my job. So, and I'd be sitting there counting my resentments, watching him, and I'd be looking out there on the horizon. There wouldn't be another sail in sight, and I'd think, ooh, how easy it would be just to kind of bump into him, like, oh, you fell overboard. Oh my goodness, look. Oh, you're all wet. Oh my, is it cold? Would you like me to come back for you? Just how do I do that, And then I'd sail off and I'd be happy. That's what I figured, because I thought this human being was making me so unhappy. And I know now that my happiness is an inside job. It has to come from within Jenny. And it doesn't come from any other person, place, or thing. But as I say, I was doing the best I could. I was just out there twisting in the wind this way and that way. I'll stay, I'll go. I'll stay, I'll go. Have any of you ever had to make a decision like that? Stay, I'll go. I can't. 23 years. I'll stay, I'll go. I'll stay, I'll go. It's going to get better. I can make him happy. I can make him love me the way I want to be loved. Now I know that sweet, dear child of God loved me the best way he knew how. He was in the throes of a terminal disease, and I did not see that. And what he was offering me was not enough. That's what I thought. So he lost his job. It is a downward spiral. It doesn't get any better, does it? So he lost his job, and we moved back. He told me it was a political situation, family-owned company, and, I just believed it was the word of God, everything that came out of his mouth. I believed everything. So we moved back to America and down to Florida. And I was just sitting in a little town in Florida called Yeehaw Junction. Sitting there one day looking down in the bottom of my coffee cup. I will, I won't, I'll stay, I'll go. And I really heard a voice. And it said, "You can go now." And this peace came over me. Have you ever had that? When you finally make that decision, right or wrong, the decision was made and a peace came over me. And so I did. I left. I packed up my cosmetics and my lingerie and my character defects. I hadn't changed. And I took them to a little bachelorette apartment in Palm Beach. Oh, yes, yes. And I set out to find somebody who would love me, and I would love him, and he would make me happy, and I would make him happy, and we would go through life in total happiness forever and ever. I did that... looking for love in all the wrong places. I'm not going to tell you where I looked, but oh, yes, I looked. Yes, I did. I looked in the United States, and I'd go back to Europe and look over there. And on one of those trips coming back, I was sitting in Palm Beach International Airport. It's amazing. I've met some wonderful people in airports. I met Mary Ann today. What a joy. But I was sitting there in Palm Beach International Airport and just watching the people go by. Do you do that? You watch them and you think, oh, I wonder if he's a good father, or is she a nurse, or I wonder if that child is happy. And I looked over in the corner and I saw the cutest thing, this big man. I'd never seen anybody like him. The man who was supposed to pick me up was late, and that's why I had the time to sit there, So there I was, just sitting there waiting for this other man. And there was this two big men were slapping him on the back, and I thought, oh, that is the cutest man I've ever seen. Oh, I bet he's married or homosexual. I mean, what are your chances? What are your chances? I mean, what's your chance that God will move in a hot, crowded airport? What are the chances? And he did. He moved mightily. God shone his face upon me. And across the floor came this big man, this Bill Hewitt. And he came over and he leaned over me. Oh, and he said, "Haven't I met you somewhere before?" I thought, tacky, tacky, tacky. Who does he think he is? And then he said, "And if you ever want to meet anybody, try this." He said, "Aren't you in a prayer group in the north of the county?" I thought, prayer group? Well, that's got to have something to do with church. He can't be a serial killer, and he is cute, And so I found the time to give him my card. And then my escort came and we parted. But Bill called me. Yes, he did. He called me, and we made a date to have him come to my apartment for a dinner, and then we were going to the symphony. Well, you can believe that I really kept that apartment was perfect. I mean, I set that table. Did I tell you for the first 50 years of my life I was perfect? Yes. What a burden. Yes, I was perfect. Everything was there, the little candles and the wine glasses, and in came Big Bill Hewitt. And he looked around and he looked at those wine glasses and he said, "Now, Jenny," he said, "there's something I want you to know." He said, "I'm a recovering alcoholic and I don't drink." All I heard was alcoholic. Oh, alcoholic? I'm alone here in my little apartment. I'm going to be attacked. He's an alcoholic. I'm going to be attacked. And then without missing a beat, my next thought, I heard, And I don't drink. And I thought, he doesn't drink? Well, he can't be any fun. Where was my thinking? So anyway, we went out, and I laugh at that woman. I laugh at her. I don't regret her. I don't wish to shut the door on her. I don't regret her. I don't mind looking back. She was crazier than a coot, but she was doing the best she could with what she had. No higher power, no 12-step program, but I'm kicking something down here. It's just the enthusiasm. I'm just kicking the walls down. I would if I could. I'm so happy to be here. Did I tell you that? If you doubt it, see me afterwards, will you? I'll tell you again. So we dated, and I thought, oh, he is wonderful, and I became quite fond of him. And we'd been seeing each other about 2 weeks, and he said, now, Jenny, he said, I'm going to be telling my story at an AA clubhouse. I'd like you to come hear it. Oh, okay. He said, there'll be, a bunch of us will be there, and I'm going to tell my story. I thought, oh, well, he's big. He'll protect me. I get in there with those alcoholics. So we walked into a room, look, everybody was sitting around just like we are here at little tables. And I looked around, I thought, well, where are the alcoholics? And I saw these doors in the back. I thought, that's where they are. Sooner or later, those doors are going to open. They're going to be there lying on their cots with tubes coming out of every orifice. I knew that. I just knew that. And Bill went up to the podium, and he began to tell his story. And he would say things like, I was the healthiest looking drunk in the Canary Islands, because every day I'd go down to the beach, and some days I'd pass out face down, and some days I'd pass out face up. And everybody was doing that too. They were going, yeah, I've done that, ha ha, And I looked around them, and I began to as Bill went on, I kind of began to get in the swing of this. I mean, I was hearing things that my family would never talk about. Well, come to think of it, there are a lot of things my family never talked about. And here was Bill, and he was saying these things that, you just wouldn't say in polite society, and he was being accepted and loved. And I realized that's what I was feeling. I was feeling something, I swore I could hear the brush of angels' wings. It was something more church than church in that room. I didn't know what it was. I walked out of there, and I knew I wanted what was in that room. And I know now it was acceptance, non-judgmental love. Oh, I'd been loved and raised with a lot of confidence, but my love depended on a lot of things like the grades or, how I was leading my life and so forth. But boy, so we dated, I want to tell you this. There are going to be some things I'm going to say that really have nothing to do with anything, and I'm just going to put them in parenthesis, okay? So I just want to say this, that as I was dating Bill, I realized that he was the same at the end of the evening as he was at the beginning of the evening, which was very rare for the men that I had dated before that. And I realized it was the alcohol. He wasn't drinking. And I thought, well, if he's not going to alter his mood, I'm not going to alter mine. So I stopped drinking. And I don't know when I did it, but I just did it. And this is the parenthesis, Al-Anon doesn't care if you drink. If you think, well, I can't go to Al-Anon because they're going to ask me if I'm drinking, and my husband's sober, or, I don't want them to know. We don't ask. We just say, come on in, sit down, have a seat. You'll figure out where you belong. So if you're sitting out there now and you're sitting on a hip flask and you're getting uncomfortable, or you've got frozen daiquiris in your truck and you're thinking, Lord, is she ever going to finish, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just come on in. You'll figure it out. That's between you and your God, and it's none of our business, and we won't ask. Okay, that's the close of that parenthesis. So yeah, right. So, okay, we were married. Well, we had a big quarrel. I want you to know, even in the best of relationships, we had a big quarrel. And we were trying to get out of the driveway first, and who could back out, and squeal the tires and all this stuff. And I remember in my first marriage, I was just a total slave to my emotions. I mean, I would slam kitchen cupboard doors. You've never slammed a kitchen cupboard door, have you? Stomp down the hallway to your room, slam the door, thrown yourself on the bed, sobbing, waiting for the door to open and to hear a voice say, oh, beloved, I was wrong. It never happened. My pillow was always damp. So so now here I'm having this argument with Bill, and I found myself back in my bedroom clutching another damp pillow, and I was really unhappy. But during this time, I had gone to Bill's church. I asked him about the enthusiasm I saw in him. Enthusiasm, that's in theos, that's God in you. And Bill had this enthusiasm, and I couldn't understand it. I mean, he'd been shot out of a B-17 in the war and captured and escaped from the Germans and was an alcoholic recovering and all. He'd had a lot in his life, but he was still just so enthusiastic. And he took me to his church. Now, I'd been going to the best church in Palm Beach with the best people. Oh, yes. Oh. And Bill took me up to his, in my church, we would just sit kind of quietly and look at our hands, or I'd look at my hands and wouldn't look up or say anything to anybody, and I'd just sit there thinking about how naughty I'd been all week. So Bill said, come on up to my church, Jenny. So I went to his church, and as we were driving up there, he said, now I want to tell you something about my church. He said, we clap our hands in church. Whoa, I thought, that sounds tacky, but okay. I like him. I'll go along with it. And I walked into this church, and people were sitting there, and they were clapping their hands, and they didn't use hymnals. They just put the lyrics up on the wall. Parenthesis, in those other churches, I was always on the wrong page. I'd pick up my book, and I'd be going through, and I'd just get to the number, and they'd say, Amen. And I think, well... And at Bill's church, it was just going like that in there, and I thought, whoa, there's joy in this. And so I began to establish this rapport, a personal relationship with Bill's God, which I just was amazed at. So when we had this lover's quarrel, I had already had this exposure. Bill says he rescued me from the frozen chosen. So back in that bedroom, now remember we've had this quarrel, and I found that I was praying, but I was praying in a different way. First I started out with this, what are you going to do, God, and and all of a sudden I began to say, well, what are we going to do? And then it moved on because I was really getting closer to this God. And finally I said, you'll have to handle it. And I gave my God a personal name. Now, I can't tell you his name because he is not conference approved. But his father is. So there I was, praying to this higher power who had sand in his sandals and had suffered, who had been rejected, and there I was praying to him. And I was happy as a clam, and I knew I could live without Bill Hewitt, but I couldn't live without this God. And so I let go of Bill briefly, and and so we were married. And I could see his potential. All he needed was a good woman, me, to take off those rough edges. And I just packed up my cosmetics and my lingerie and my character defects, took him up to his little bachelor home in Tequesta, where we live now, and set out to make this marriage perfect. This marriage was not going to fail. I tell you, I was on that man like a duck on a June bug. I knew what time he went to bed. I knew what time he got up. I knew what he ought to say. I knew what he ought to wear, do, think, give. I knew what his drives were. I knew what his fears were. I didn't know who I was. I had no clue. Who was Jenny as a child of God? I didn't know that. Poor man. We'd go to these open AA meetings. He had 22 years when I married him. We'd go to these open AA meetings. And the Al-Anon ladies would come over and say, now, Jenny, we're going to have our meeting here and there. Would you like to? Oh, no, I'd say. I'm here with Bill. I had to sit next to him in case something good was said that he missed and I could, Oh, it was bad. It was bad. It was really bad. How bad was it? It was bad. One day, Bill said to me, Jenny, he said, you ought to try some of those Al-Anon meetings. He said, those ladies need you. Yes, I could do that. I could. I had heard these women, they have terrible problems, these Al-Anon members, and I thought, okay, I could go for 3 months, get them fixed up, Tough cases. Maybe I could stay 6 months. Then I'd go back to the open AA meetings with Bill. So January 2nd, 1985, I walked into my first meeting of Al-Anon. And I like to think of that day as the day that God first put his foot in the door of my mind and let in just a little light, maybe there was another way of thinking. Maybe I wasn't in charge. Maybe the sun would come up. Maybe the moon would go down. Maybe the flowers would bloom without me, and that I could put down all those heavy responsibilities that I'd carried around all my life, all those people, places, and things. And you all suggested, Jenny, why don't you just put down that magnifying glass and pick up a mirror and have a look at you? Who are you? That was so, because all those things had been right here. I couldn't see who I was. So I did it, gradually, slowly. I like to think of those first 3 steps. That's the time when my mind began to clear up. I was really cloudy in my thinking. As I say, I didn't know who I was. And I thought I was responsible for everything. And you all kept assuring me, just come back, come back. And you gave me little jobs to do. That was amazing to me because, I mean, you just seemed to really have faith in what I could do. And I didn't have to do it all. I had certain little jobs that I could do. You asked me, the first thing I think you asked me to do was bring the cookies. You said, Jenny, would you bring the cookies next week? Whoa, I said, oh, well, sure, just tell me, what kind of cookies and where you get your cookies and how many cookies do you buy and how much should I pay for the cookies and does this group have a cookie platter? Have you got any doilies? You said, Jenny, just bring the cookies. We trust you. Whoa. You trusted me. You did. You trusted me. And so I could go on. I could go on in this beautiful journey. I could go from step 1, 2, and 3 and begin to not only clear up, but clean up, get into those cleanup things of taking my inventory. And I remember doing that with my sponsor. And she was working on crafts, and she would just sit there, and I'd go to her house, and we'd take a few little points about my life at a time. And I was kind of testing her, about things I had done. I'd say things like, well, when he was asleep, I would steal money out of his wallet. And she would just, and then what? How did that make you feel? And she went on. And so then I thought, well, she didn't, throw up or fall off the couch on that one. And I would talk about, like, cleaning the bathroom with this rag. And the last thing I would do with the rag was wipe out his drinking glass. But there was no rage in me. No, I wasn't angry. And I began to clean up with some of these things. Have any of you ever done that? And I began to understand that I was on a journey. And I knew how it was going to end because I knew this 12th step, having had a spiritual awakening. Now, for those of you, if this is it is being taped, for those of you listening at home, I am about to leave the podium and go and point to the step banner on the wall. I've just pointed out the word the. Having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to others and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Having had a spiritual awakening as the result, not a sober family, not happy children, not a new job, nothing, just having had a spirit, the result. That's all, just that word. That is the word. That's that promise that comes. How do you know it's going to happen? Well, I don't know. I just know. Well, when does it happen? I don't know. Well, did it happen to you? Yes, it did. It happened to me. Well, when did it happen to you? I don't know. Somewhere in all those steps. I just started through those steps and I got to number 12 and there it was. I've had a spiritual awakening and I did because of that. I learned how to move closer to this higher power and how to have a relationship with him. What I loved about coming in here, there's so many things. Seeing the steps and the traditions on the wall, I know what kind of meeting it is. Have you ever walked into a room, this parenthesis, I have opinion on everything, walked into a meeting room and wondered, what kind of meeting is this? There's no literature out, there are no steps up. I just think it's great when I can see those beautiful banners and be reminded of the fact that the steps protect me from me and the traditions protect the group from me. They're all about relationships, having trouble with relationships in your home. Are you sitting there on a little wobbly stool? Our logo has a Our logo, oh, I'm having such a good time. Our logo has a triangle. That's our logo, right? And if you think of it as a little milking stool, here we are in Wisconsin, little milking stool, little three-legged milking stool. If you're sitting there tonight, one little leg of this little stool because you're stuck in the steps, I would suggest that you go on to the traditions. Talk to your sponsor about it. And there you'll have two legs on your little stool and you'll be better, but don't deny yourself the last 12 beautiful spiritual principles, totally different in our concepts. It's a three-sided triangle. Without the third side, you got two little sticks. They can't do a thing. But if you stick with it, and not you, we don't teach Al-Anon. When I was able, with my sponsor, to learn more about the traditions and more about the concepts and not deny myself. I mean, these traditions are how we get along with others, and the concepts are how we use our steps and our traditions in business practices, effective business practices, how we get along with the world. Oh, we don't need effective business practices. We'll just pray, and pretty soon the literature will get into Russia on its own. No, it won't. Which brings me to the third part of my recovery, and that was to grow up. So I could clear up, clean up, and grow up. I have to grow up in this program. Why do I think that we can do it with smoke and mirrors? We can't. It starts with me. I've been sitting there in my group. Al-Anon's going to be 50 years old next year, and I'm putting the same dollar in the basket. Oh, look at me. I just dropped a big dollar in there. Did you see that dollar? Look at that dollar. That's paper money. That's not quarters. That's a dollar. Yes, it is. And I began to realize that that's hardly a sacrifice. Good heavens, yeah, drop that dollar in. Can't do any more, but let's go for lunch after the meeting. And so we have this statement of responsibility. I was waiting for the group to make a decision. When are we going to vote? When are these people going to wise up and vote and raise the amount we put in the basket? Vote on $2 or $3. And I was lying in bed one night going over that statement of responsibility. Let it begin with me. When anyone, anywhere reaches out for help, let the hand of Al-Anon and Alateen always be there. And let it begin with me. And so I go back to my group now, and I'm putting in $3. I put $3 in my home group basket and $2 in the pickup meetings. And I want to do that. Al-Anon doesn't need my $3. I need to do that. I need to grow up and break the buck barrier. Does it sound like I'm at a podium on my soapbox? Well, I'm at a podium, and the soapbox is there. So, okay, that's it. That's close of that parenthesis. So, anyway, grow up, and get mature, and draw boundaries. I had to learn how to draw boundaries for myself, and I was slowly learning. It took me a while. I never knew what a boundary was, but I began to learn, and I want to give you a little story about the first time that happened, and I remember it very well. I had made a fish dinner. Now, I don't make muffins and pies and cakes. I make reservations. I have other gifts. And I think even before I get into this, I want to talk a little bit about the gifts that I have and how I found them. AA has had their promises for how long, and aren't they beautiful? Those situations that will no longer baffle us, and situations that, anyway, we won't regret the past nor wish to close the door on it, and our lives, anyway. We wanted promises, and Al-Anon would write to the World Service Office, and we'd say things like, well, now, when are we going to have our promises? AA has theirs. When are we going to get ours? And then we'd get that typical World Service Office answer back, well, perhaps when you write them. And someone did. And they're in a book called From Survival to Recovery about growing up in an alcoholic home. It's our Al-Anon literature, and on page 269 are these beautiful promises. Now, they don't call them promises. You can call them gifts or gratitudes or whatever you want to call them. They're there on the page. But if you take them out, you can number them, and guess how many there are. It's amazing. They're 12. They're 12. And one of the things is, the first one says we will become mature, responsible individuals with a great capacity for joy and fulfillment. And that's what I am trying to become in this fellowship, a mature individual, and to look at this as a worldwide fellowship and not just look at my little group. I've gone down the food chain, in service, you start out right at the top. You're a member, and then you get to be alternate group representative, watch out, because anytime you take that job, you know that group representative is going to move to Pago, and you'll never see them again. They're gone to Venezuela, I don't care. And suddenly group representative, district representative, down, delegate. And then after that, now I'm serving on the International Coordination Committee in Al-Anon. And last month, I was in Europe at this meeting of 2 delegates from each of 22 different countries. They were Al-Anon members. We spoke 10 different languages to hear the Serenity Prayer said at the start of the meetings, each time in a different language. The member would go up from Poland or from New Zealand. Our longitude was from Iceland to Argentina, and the latitude was from Dallas, Texas, to New Zealand. It was an absolutely marvelous experience and an honor to be there. And I learned more about carrying this message worldwide and what it takes to do that. And I'm growing up. I'm learning to lift up my eyes from my little recovery, my little group, and my little area and my little region, and look out and see this world and know that they're in the dark, waiting for our message, waiting for us to bring this message. And so it has to begin with me. And so I'm just trying to be the best Al-Anon member I can be. Okay, so let's see. It says in our promises we'll be able to perceive reality and recognize truth. It says we will be able to risk failure to develop new hidden talents. Look at the talents that are here this weekend. Who made these signs? Who did the name tags? Who planned the programs? Who got the speakers? Who put the signs up? Who organized all this? Who chose the menus? Look at what's gone on. The wonderful gifts and talents. And you know, these 12-step programs, they always say, come on in. Even when I brought the cookies. Have you ever heard anybody say, yuck, who brought the cookies? I never have. Did you ever hear anybody say, well, that's the ugliest name tag I've ever seen, you know? I've never heard anything like that. We just say, come on in, come on in. Whatever your gifts are, we can use them. Look at this. Patty made this. This was waiting for me in my room. It's the fragrance of Wisconsin. It is so beautiful. The pine trees in Wisconsin, the things outside. Nothing you can step on, just this wonderful fragrance. I shall treasure it. It's got the little Serenity Prayer on the front. Look at the love that went into this. Every little stitch. And flowers. I received these beautiful flowers and just love. Do you know I'm happy to be here? Okay, and it says, with dignity we will stand for ourselves. And I want to share with you the time when I began to grow up. And when I was in Europe, do you know what I did? And I just want to do it because I love to say it. I'm going to say this. We were in Germany, and I wanted to go to Berlin. But after Berlin, then I didn't have time. So I thought, well, I'll go to Amsterdam just directly, you know. But then a man from Berlin said, come with me. I will take you on the train. And he said, and after you go to the opera in Berlin, he said, I can put you on the night train from Berlin. Oh, night train from Berlin. I did it. I did it by myself. Nothing happened. I didn't fall off the train. I did keep the door locked, and I did expect to see Orson Welles or hear shots or something like that. The night train from Berlin. See what service will do? Bring the cookies to the meeting. You'll end up on the night train from Berlin. It's amazing. I don't know how it works. Whew. Okay, so now I'm beginning to grow up, and I'm beginning to draw boundaries. I made that fish dinner. We're back to the fish dinner now. I made that fish dinner, and everything was not as perfect as it used to be, because now I'm getting better, but the table was set, and I called Bill to the table. And he came in, and he sat down, and we cut into our fish, and I heard this voice, and it was his voice, and it said, "The fish is cold." Oh, I thought, it went right to my heart, like his words always went right to my heart. But, normally I would have leapt to my feet and I would have said, "Oh, the fish is cold? Oh, I'm so sorry. Here, take my fish. Oh, dear. And here, give me the keys to the car. I'll go and get you a steak." I would have taken the offending flounder into the kitchen, getting it out of his sight as soon as I could. I would have done but this time was different. I didn't do that. I didn't look at him and I didn't say anything. And I began to remember what I'd heard at meetings. And there was something I'd read in the Forum, our little magazine, and it said, what did it say? Think, Jenny, what did it say? It said, don't just do something, stand there. Okay, you don't have to do anything. All right, don't do anything. Okay. What was that slogan? You heard a slogan. What was the slogan? The slogan was think. Okay, think. All right, think. He said his fish was cold. Okay, what was that? Was that a question? No, that wasn't a question. Do you have to answer that? No, you don't have to answer that. Don't look at him. Okay. Well, if that wasn't a question, then what was that? That was an opinion. Oh, an opinion. Yeah, that was an opinion. That's right. He thinks his fish is cold. Yes, his fish may be cold. And then I remembered those concepts. I thought, well, yes, but I'm the leader here. I remembered concept 3, the right of decision makes effective leadership possible. I thought, who's the leader? Who's the leader here? I'm the leader here. I cook the fish. I'm the leader. Concept 10. Let's see. Service responsibilities are carefully balanced and double-headed management is avoided. I thought, well, what he's doing is double-headed management. He thinks the fish is cold. I'm the leader of this. I cook the fish. I'm the manager. I turned to him and I said, I use the Al-Anon. You try this. You could be right. Yeah, well, that certainly bears thinking about. Yeah. Oh dear. That's what it was like and what happened, and now we're getting to what it's like now. And I'm going to start to speak pretty slowly because I'm getting to the third part. And I'm going to say this. Don't know why. 3 years ago, I went back to school. I got a master's degree in clinical psychology, and it's mental health track. And the reason I say it is if you look up here at this little old lady who did this, and you're sitting there thinking, someday I might go back to school. I'm just saying this to let you know that it is possible. It is doable. I didn't think it was. I took my higher power with me every night to those night classes, and I took it one day at a time. And what do you know? So I did that, and part of the reason I did that was that it helped me keep my mind off of Bill, because going on 11 years now, 11 years ago, Parkinson's came into our home, and Bill is a Parkinsonian, and oh Lord, if your loved one is going to have a terminal disease, isn't alcoholism the perfect one? You can go to a few meetings a week, drop a few dollars in the basket, and hold that terminal disease in remission. There are other diseases that just go down, and that's what we're going through now. It's a passage in our lives. We've been through many happy years. In fact, tonight is our 16th wedding anniversary. Yep. Yes, thank you, Lord. Woo, glory. It is. And yesterday at the VA, Bill has been, as they call it, placed. What a name. July 15th. So he's at the VA with his veteran friends, and that's wonderful. And yesterday we said our vows. We always repeat our vows on our anniversary. And he was able to do that. He was able to say those words. So it's a passage, and I use the program. I use Let Go and Let God, Keep It Simple. How important is it? All those beautiful slogans come to life in these situations. And as I say, we're taking it one day at a time. And just one more thing. If you're young and you've never been in love and you think you're waiting for some gorgeous hunk, let me tell you that I can put my head on the chest of a 93-year-old Parkinsonian, and my heart goes like this, and he is the love of my life. And maybe he doesn't know who I am sometimes when I go, but I know who this man is, and I know the lives he's touched with his recovery and with his God. So I just say that because I want to honor him and what he's done. 3 months after I married Bill, my first husband joined AA. You mean that had been Yes, he came home and said, "You won't believe who walked in the door today at the meeting." And I have 2 daughters that are in recovery, and I thank you, Alcoholics Anonymous. I have 2 daughters, 39 and 40, and they have 9 years in the program of AA. Woo! And you were there for them, and the lights were on in the meeting, and the coffee was on, and you were there, and you invited them in, and you listened to them, and you grew them up in your beautiful, beautiful program. There wouldn't be Al-Anon without you all. And I tell you, it's an honor to be allowed to speak here, and I'm going to close pretty soon because I don't want to ruin this for the next Al-Anon speaker. Might not get invited, so, okay. I do want to say this about their father. Having said this, now I understand so much more, and I see him as a child of God. And when I was in Europe, I saw him, and he has come and had lunch with me and with Bill in years past, and the years are being restored. The years the locusts have stolen, the years that were taken away. After all, this man makes beautiful babies, and he is the father of my children. And so relationships can be restored in this beautiful fellowship. As if you all didn't know that. Look at us all sitting here together. Okay, so, all right, it's getting ready now. There's a wonderful old hymn, and I guess what I'm trying to say is this. The words go like this: something beautiful, something good, all my confusion you understood. All I had to offer you was brokenness and strife. But God used you to make something beautiful out of my life. And when I came to you and I said, Bill has Parkinson's, and I have to be there, and I have to make sure he takes his pills, and I have to make sure he eats, and I have to... You said, let go, Jenny. Just let go. Will you let go, Jenny? You can never let go. Let go, let go, let go, let go. It's easy once you know. You never could. You never would. Let go, let go, let go, let go, let go. It's easy once you know. You never could. You never would. Let go. And so I'm here, and I'm not there. I am letting go, and I'm allowing Bill the dignity to walk out God's plan in his life, which isn't mine, but is God's. Okay, in closing, now, at the end of every Al-Anon meeting, there are about 10 sentences that we say that I find are so beautiful, and they start like this. In closing, I would like to say that the opinions expressed here were strictly those of the person who gave them. Take what you liked and leave the rest. Now, if you didn't like the way I laughed, or you thought I was too noisy, my sponsor says if there's no joy in your program, you're doing something wrong. You know, oh yeah, you want to go to an Al-Anon meeting with me? Boy, do we have a good time. Come on, let's go, huh? Oh, no, thank you. I have to remind my face this program works. So, okay, strictly those take what you like and leave the rest. The things you heard were spoken in confidence and should be treated as confidential. Keep them within the walls of this room and the confines of your mind. And a few special words to those of you who haven't been with us long. Whatever your problems, there are those among us who have had them too. If you try to keep an open mind, you will find help. You'll come to realize that there's no situation too difficult to be bettered, and no unhappiness too great to be lessened. And here come my favorite 3 words. We aren't perfect. We say this at the end of every Al-Anon meeting. We aren't perfect. The welcome we give you may not show the warmth we have in our hearts for you. After a while, you'll discover that though you may not like all of us, you'll love us in a very special way, the same way we already love you. So talk to each other, reason things out with someone else, but let there be no gossip or criticism of one another. Instead, let the understanding, love, and peace of the program grow in you one day at a time. And now I'm feeling that feeling again. I have to go now. It's coming up, and there are tears in my ears. And you know, this time, it's tears of joy, not of sadness, just of joy that I'm here with you, that it's Friday night and this is finished. I can just relax for the rest of the weekend and be with all of you here at this beautiful McHenry's Sober Fest. Thank you, glory. Woo!